And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in once again to the BCR Technique 30-Day Challenge. And here we are now at day number 26. So, again, we're nearly finished the 30-day challenge. This has been great. So, with today, we're going to be looking into healing the world with the BCR Technique. So, like I said in review, we've been looking into, again, self-healing, right? The present self. We've been looking into our variants, right? Looking into your younger self, moving all the way up into the present self. And of course, we've been looking into the major key players through the life circle. I always get that confused. Cycle, circle. Through the life circle, such as your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your grandparents, your best friend, etc. And being able to work with extension healing and bringing that love energy representing them into the highest degree of love that you are experiencing when you're going into your reinforcement space. So we've been doing a lot where we've been taking the BCR technique to far different degrees, more than has ever been shared before. But again, we're still not done. Today we're going to be looking into the idea of healing the world, right? So really what we're looking into is the nature of events, right? So like I said, this is something that's going to be a little bit more advanced, a little bit more distant, because again, you still have a lot of work to do with your own variants, with your own major key players. As you go through that, you're going to be working with events of the world, right? And being able to work with those events, because those events are basically going to be deposited into your reinforcement space, right? So I'm going to do my best to talk about this. Tomorrow we're going to be doing a demonstration about working with healing events in that way. So the first thing we're doing, like I said, is through the BCR technique as we get into breath work, as we get into the phase 1 breath, the phase 2 breath, we go into that state of active calmness, right? We go into the stillness, we go into the subtle calmness, and then of course we go into our reinforcement space. So again, our reinforcement space, as we know, is an environment that is created entirely through the heart. So as it's created entirely through the heart, there's nothing, like I said, with eye candy, there's nothing superficial within your space whatsoever. As we go into the true heart space within your reinforcement space, and you're lifting your love energy all the way up to level 10, right? 10 out of 10 on the scale, we're going to look at particular events. Now, of course, if there are certain events within the world that are troubling us, right? Of course, when we're looking into the COVID agenda and so forth. We're basically depicting a type of world like that. Now, what you're doing is when you basically get to 10 out of 10 on the scale, you've written down on your checklist the nature of an event that disturbs you, right? So if it's something that you've seen maybe at a high school in regards to children about how they're being treated with COVID-19, right? So we're seeing the kind of like a freeze frame of that event, right? So what you're doing is after you've reached that 10 out of 10 on the scale, it's like you're creating a bubble around you. Okay, so it's like a soap bubble, right? A sphere. And through that, you may see kind of like a black and white image that basically sums up the event that you have reacted to and felt that there's a lot of negative connotation to. So what you're doing is with that 10 out of 10 love on the scale, and you're seeing this sphere that contains that bubble, showing that freeze frame event of the situation that has disturbed you. We're again just placing our hands upon that bubble, and we're again lifting our frequency and putting all the love energy directly into that situation. So you may see people involved with that event, right? You may be able to go inside a school, you see a classroom, you see these kids with these dividers, you see them with masks on and so forth. And as you're bringing this love energy to that bubble, you're seeing everything regarding that event in the fulfillment of its end result that you wish to see, that you wish to experience, right? So if you're seeing something in regards to a great deal of suppression, you're seeing through your mind kids taking their masks off, the dividers leaving, right? So everything in regards to the fulfillment that brings happiness to that end result situation is what you're envisioning inside the BCR technique, inside your reinforcement space. So we're taking that kind of black and white monochrome sphere, and we're putting all of this pure love energy, just as we've done with our variants, just as we've done with our family, with our major key players. We're doing the exact same thing, just through the sphere, and just again putting our hands there and just sharing our love, putting our love energy through that sphere, and we're turning that black and white scene into full color, right? And now we're seeing, we may see kind of like a scene or a movie, right? Through it, we see, kids taking their masks off. We see the dividers being removed from class. We see kids laughing. We see them talking. We see an encouraging teacher, right? This is what we're doing. We're basically seeing what is the end result. We're not concerned about how this happens, right? We're just seeing the end result of what brings us happiness in this whole situation. This is the manifestation of your compassion that you're bringing forward into this event, this sphere, so to speak. So again, with that love energy, that is, again, through the roof where you're above Mount Olympus, and you're just pouring that love energy directly into this event, turning that black and white scene into a full color spectrum, and you're seeing the end result of that event moved into a much more beneficial and compassionate end result. So the last thing we're thinking about is, how does this happen? How does this happen? If I'm seeing the kids not in dividers anymore, if I'm seeing them with not masks anymore, how does that happen? We don't look into that. That's not important. That's just empty intellect, right? Intellect does not determine the nature of these events shifting, moving into a much more desired effect through yourself, okay? So you're sending love to that entire scenario. And it can be billions of different scenarios, right? What you're doing is you're learning to make peace with the event that has caused you concern, right? So it's all through the reinforcement space. The reinforcement space is your hologram. And you're just bringing in this sphere that represents this troubling event. And through your love energy, you're pouring that love energy directly into the sphere, directly into this event, and seeing it in something that represents much more of a harmony, right? So you're bringing that disharmonious event through the sphere directly into harmony, just through your intention, right? Now you feel that event completely in full color. You feel completely satisfied by that love energy that you are giving, because this is what your love energy is intending for those who have been affected by this scene, okay? That's what you're doing. So you are creating this natural harmony so that the event that troubled you doesn't stay in a form of trouble. You're giving your compassion to it. As you give your compassion, as you give your love, as you give your happiness to it, it transforms into that full color. You feel happy in regards to that situation. That situation, again, is measured on a scale, 10 out of 10, right? How do you feel? Do you feel that love energy has filled up that situation, that scene together? Yes, 10 out of 10. I feel great with it. Good. And then you let the bubble dissolve from your reality. You check in with yourself. You get 10 out of 10 on the scale of love energy, and you're good to go. Okay? So that's all we're doing. This is how we're healing the world. We're looking at events. Okay? So basically, like I said, we're working with ourself, our present self. We're working with our variants. We're working with our major key players. And we're working with the world pertaining to the nature of event. Do you see how the BCR technique basically handles everything? It takes care of everything. So you're working in your reinforcement space. Your reinforcement space is indeed your workspace. That is where you are depositing your love into yourself, into your variants, into your major key players, and into the events of the world that you have been troubled by. So that all of those events can now therefore be completely neutralized, harmonized, brought into love, brought into the full color spectrum, and now you're completely in harmony with that situation. So I'll be demonstrating this more tomorrow in regards to healing the world event. Okay, so that again is the final stage that we're looking into relating to the BCR technique. Okay, so basically we've had 4 stages that have come through this entire 30-day challenge. And like I said, I don't expect you guys to tackle this right away. You guys have a lot on your plate already, working with yourself, working with your variants, working with your major key players, and then finally working with events. Okay, but that's basically how you harmonize an event, right? You look on the TV, you look on the internet, you see this horrible situation, you see how it affects you, right? So then you have your check-in list here. You're writing down the paragraph. What is it? What is this event all about? What is it doing to you? How is it affecting you? Okay, what is it about? And you write it all down. How does it affect the 3 bodies? Physically, emotionally, mentally, right? We go through the BCR process. We're in the reinforcement space. We bring our love energy, 10 out of 10, and we're creating this sphere to where that event is taking place, where we're seeing it, right? And then we're putting our love energy directly into that sphere. We're charging it with this pure love energy. And now through our mind, we're seeing that scene transform into something very, very beautiful and harmonizing, because we're giving compassion to it. We're neutralizing any troublesome nature relating to that event, right? So now you see that event and you're completely in harmony with it. You're saying, I've already sent my blessings. I've sent my compassion to it. All will be well. Everything is as it should be, right? Because the whole idea, all you're doing is neutralizing your conflict relating to that event, right? It's not even about having to change the event in physical reality, okay? It's like I said, when you're working together with your mom or your dad, right, the major key players, you're creating your hologram of how you feel pertaining to your mom or your dad, right? So you're bringing them to a 10 out of 10 on the love scale. They're equal to that level playing field where you are in your love energy. So you're both 10 out of 10. And you feel this love, you feel this harmony, you feel this happiness, you feel them smiling, you feel them joyful, you feel them enriched, right? And there's just that perfect happiness that exists between the two of you, right? And that is your mom, your dad, your major key players in your own reinforced love space. You harmonize them, everything feels wonderful, and now they return back to their life, right? So they may experience that love energy that you're feeling with them. They may not, but that doesn't matter. Everything that's being done within your reinforcement space really is for you, right? It's not about saying, oh, I did all this big healing with my mom. I wonder if she's feeling any different. She may not, right? But that doesn't matter. We're not really doing this healing for them. We're doing this healing for ourselves, because you're the self. You have always been the self. You will always be the self. You will never stop being the self. You will only ever look at life through these eyes. You will only ever perceive life through these perceptions, through these senses, right? Through this nature of who you are. So everything that you do is through the nature of the self. So what you are doing is you are harmonizing the self. So when you therefore have a peaceful situation that emerges with your mom, right, inside your reinforcement space, creating so much love energy with the hologram that you have brought forward relating to your mom, where it's 10 out of 10, you feel in harmony. You feel in love. You feel joy. You feel so much happiness with your mother because you've made that choice to see her that way, right? To see her in happiness, to embrace her, to love her, to see tears coming down her eyes, to seeing her smile, to seeing her laugh, and having that exchange of I love yous, right? That's all that matters. That's all you're here to do. You're not here to change anybody. You're not here to change events collectively in the world. You are here to change your perception of everything. That's what we're doing in the BCR technique. You can't change another person. You can't change an event. But your perception of a person, your perception of an event, and the events that can flow to you magnetically, you have control of that. That's what you can change. So this is what I'm teaching you guys to do through the BCR technique as you work together with deeper degrees of love energy, right? We're accumulating that love into ourselves, but basically, that love energy is already here, right? We are made of love. Love is our nature. Love is consciousness, okay? There's nothing beyond consciousness. There is only consciousness. Love is consciousness. Happiness is consciousness, right? In its pure form. So what we are doing is we are opening ourselves up. We're opening ourselves up and we're letting this energy of love become a lot more active within ourselves. It's been dormant because we've just been going into living in the outside world. We've been living in duality. As long as you live in duality for a very, very long time, the feeling of your love becomes dormant. It can never really be destroyed, but it becomes dormant. You're basically drying yourself up, right? You're becoming thirsty. You're becoming like a starved beggar, feeling like they are deprived of love because they've been putting so much lack into themselves. And when you start doing something like the BCR technique, you're starting to rejuvenate yourself again. You're starting to quench your thirst. The love energy now starts to flow through you like a fountain, like a waterfall, because you're rejuvenating yourself, you're picking yourself back up, you're rehabilitating yourself to come back into your true prime nature. And that true prime nature is love. So as we work with that love energy, that happiness energy, that love energy, that pure consciousness, whatever you want to call it, it's all one and the same. We're purifying ourselves. And now we're able to work on ourselves and say, okay, I'm clearing out all this lack that has been within me. I'm letting it go because I've been focusing too much out here, right? As long as I keep focusing out here and thinking that I'm just part of this outside world, I am going to suffer. I can guarantee you that. As long as you guys are focusing on the outside world constantly and are victims to everything that happens in the outside world, you will go through suffering because you're living through duality. It is when you actually take your power back, bring your love into yourself, rejuvenate yourself, rehabilitate yourself, accumulate all of that love energy, seeing yourself above Mount Olympus, getting high on that love energy, and living inside the heart, that you're free. That is the non-dual path. That's really what it's all about. It's going beyond the body, it's going beyond the mind, it's coming into pure consciousness, pure awareness. And that's who you are. That's your nature. I'm not telling you this, guys, because this is something that you're not. This is who you are. This is who we all are. We are all pure consciousness. We are all pure awareness. We are all pure love. And something like this is just helping you to return back to that relationship of who you really are. It's about letting go of the attachments of this outward world, of the gross world, of the gross body, right? It's not meant to say gross as in disgusting, but it's just very solid. It's very physical. It's very dense. And that's not who you are. You are not physical, solid, or dense. This body is, right? And the mind has those characteristics as well too, but you're not. You are the self. You are pure awareness. You are that you are, right? I am that I am, right? So Sensei asks, what about if you can't actually see the evil, like ritual abuse? I would like to work with that. You can only work together with what you are aware of, okay? You do not need to concern with what you are not aware of, right? How can you continue to work on something that you do not know exists, okay? If you do not have a first-hand experience of the traumas that you're going through, you may just hear it for the grapevine. Well, then again, that's still something that you're trying to attach to, but you don't really have a grasp on that, right? You may hear things about ritual abuse or sacrifices and so forth. Has that ever happened to you firsthand? Do you have firsthand accountability of that? Well, no, not really. I just hear about it. Okay. So basically, you could just see that as an incorporation of an event that you may have familiarity with, and the extensions of that event that you're healing are going towards those things because you're only able to just hear it from the grapevine. You do not have a first-hand accountability of that, right? So when we're healing the entire earth, right, that can be an event-based healing, right? We're doing an event-based healing where we're just looking at everything and we're just telling the earth, right, bring all of your suffering into this sphere, right? Everything that represents the suffering of the world, bring it into this sphere. And I can work together with love, and I am bringing that together to, again, create that full color picture, right? That's when you know your love energy is making an impact. When you're looking at a black and white monochromatic sphere relating to all the suffering and depression of the world through your perceptions, right? That's it. You can never really heal the world through everybody. It's not possible, okay? But you can heal your perceptions of the world. That's what you're doing. This is how you're, again, planting a seed into the planet. This is how you're planting a seed into the earth. Your perceptions of what you feel the earth is being healed. Okay? So guys, we're not here to save 8 billion humans. Okay? That's something you have to realize. We're not here to be the master steward to heal the entire planet by ourselves. That's not what you're here to do. Okay? That's an illusion. You are here to heal your perceptions of how you see the world. You are here to heal your perceptions of how you see the human population, of how you see what the earth is going through, of how you see these events that are unfolding. Your perception is the only thing that's being healed. You can't change anybody. There's nobody else here to change. Okay? There's only you. So we get into this savior mentality. I feel like, I got all this ability now. I know the BCR technique. I've done this advanced forms of meditation, everything like that, and I can heal the entire planet. You can heal the planet through your perceptions. That's it. Okay, you cannot heal the world. Can't be done. You cannot heal other people. Can't be done. But your perceptions of other people, your perceptions of the world, your perceptions of these events that have been troublesome through yourself can be healed. That's all you're doing, right? That's all that needs to be done. Your perceptions are being cleaned. They're being turned into spick and span, right? They are now moving into a harmony. And now you are seeing your world with new eyes. You're seeing it with a new perception, right? So we get into this idea of saying, I just want to heal everybody. You can't. There's nobody here to heal. It's your perception of people, right? You have to work together with your magnetics. Your magnetics, when they are in chaos, are going to attract a lot of bullies and aggressors into your life. It's as I've already talked about before, right? You're the one that summons in these types of people, that summons in this type of energy because your own energy is in chaos. It has been brought into chaos because you've been focusing out here. You've been reacting to everything relating to the stimulation of the outside world. That's why you're in chaos. When you come in here, everything's peaceful, everything's loving, everything's happiness, everything's joyful. This is BCR 101, right? You guys have been doing this now for 3.5 weeks. You should know this already, right? So you're already aware of how much love energy resides within you, of what you're cultivating within yourself, of what you're making active, right? You're not here to be Superman or Superwoman, come to the day and being saviors for other people. That is not what we're doing, right? We're getting out of that fantasy. We're not here to, if that was possible, guys, we'd be living in a very, very different world, right? If people were just able to say, yeah, I'm able just to heal everybody, I'm able to change everybody, be a very, very different world. We would not be experiencing anything like what we're experiencing right now, if that were possible. Because there are very, very advanced souls here that have incredible abilities through the power of love. And if that was possible, you'd have pretty much 8 billion people on the planet just smiling and happy with each other and dancing down the street and skipping. You wouldn't have any forms of negatively oriented governments. You wouldn't have any corrupt systems. You wouldn't have any corrupt industries or corporations or anything of that nature. If that were possible, if you were able to change everybody, if you were able to change scenarios just by a snap of a finger, you would not have a world like this. So do you see why that's not possible? Because if it was, it'd be happening. You're changing your perception of how you view the world, and that is you planting a seed, right? And more people start doing the same thing, and they start planting a seed. Okay? Everything I'm teaching you here, guys, right now is not popular. Okay? This is not the idea of MTV hosting the BCR technique. Okay? What you guys are learning here is extremely rare because the majority of the planet don't want this. They don't want to come inside. They don't want to heal their hearts. They don't want to go inside and feel that they have to be responsible. The majority of the planet still feels that they need other people to take care of them, that they need to reside on the outside world, and through the outside actions they take, that they're going to change the entire world. That's where the mass majority population is, right? There are people waking up, right? There are people who are very loving and very happy and very joyful, but they still have to imprint their ideas of life on the outside. What you guys are doing here is very, very rare, okay? You guys are a rare breed of human because you're tuning into this, right? Like I said, I have 40,000 people, 40,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel. There's barely 50 of you watching this, okay? So that is letting you know what you guys are doing with the BCR technique puts you many miles ahead relating to the momentum of the population of the earth. You guys are being pioneers, right? You're being love pioneers. Because as you start to develop this and you become a lot more advanced like this, you can show people the BCR technique as well too. And you can show them all I learned how to do was learn to live inside. I'm not concerned about the events of the world, because any event of the world has to come through my perception. I have to perceive something in a troubling way for it to be conflicting. But now that I know to live inside my heart, now that I know I'm going into a reinforcement space, now that I know how to bring myself into a subtle energy, I can heal all that, right? I heal my perceptions of everything. And that is how I'm clean. That is how I'm a clean soul, right? That's what makes a clean soul, right? A dirty soul is one who is constantly just fighting with everybody outside, manipulating everybody outside, consumed by greed, consumed by warfare, wanting to fight, right? Being an aggressor, etc. And they're completely lost in a state of confusion because they think this is real outside here. They do not know how to live in here. That's a soul in chaos. That is a very dirty soul, right? When you leave this body, when the time comes for you to transition, there is what's known as a soul gradient. I'm going to be doing a video on this pretty soon as well too, okay? Because this is an important thing to know. When you leave this world, right? When this body is done, it perishes, and you leave the body, you are going up what's known as a soul gradient scale. The soul gradient scale starts at the black, and there's a gradient haze here, and then it comes up to the white. The white represents God, right? So here you are, as a soul, trying to move up to the higher planes, moving up into the higher heavenly spheres, but you get caught in the web of something dark and muddy. And now there's an opportunity to say, are you ready to let this go? Are you ready to let this event that is causing this dark and muddy situation within yourself to happen? Oh no, I can't let go of that. I have this thing I have to take care of. I have this person I have to take care of. I don't want to leave that person. I don't want to leave this home. I don't want to leave that blah, 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 blah. Okay? So what happens is you hit a snag. You hit a snag in the soul gradient. And basically you can't go any further than that. Now, you could stay in spirit for thousands of years if you wish, but you're not going to go beyond this gradient because you're stuck here. Because there's an attachment here. Because there's something filthy, there's something muddy, there's something mucky, there's something in lack here. You can't go up the gradient any further. So you can choose to stay in spirit for as long as you want, right? But not being able to go past that gradient. So what do you do to get past that gradient? You incarnate again. You go back to earth again, you go back to the scene of the crime, and you work to harmonize it, okay? And basically what happens with many people, hundreds or thousands of lifetimes, they go from here to about there. And this is after about 1,000 lifetimes, right? Because again, they can only go so far up the gradient because they have constantly lived on the outside world. They have lived in duality. That's as high as duality is going to take you, right? Maybe you'll go up into the twilight, and maybe that's about as high as you go. When you start living inside, when you start completely eliminating everything that represents yourself as a victim or an aggressor, because they're one and the same, and you start working with the inside, you start healing your love, you start clearing yourself out, you feel this love energy flowing through you, you start healing your perceptions, you start making yourself a clean soul. Guess what happens now with the soul gradient? You can go all the way up to God. Because you've chosen to live on the inside. You're no longer living in a world of lack. You're living in a world of love. You're living in a world of happiness. You see pure consciousness as it is. You see everything that represents the appearance that you see as consciousness, right? This is the non-dual. The non-dual is the only path that is going to take you up to here. That's going to take you to God. No other path can do that. As long as you're living outside and feeling that you're going to try and get through life by constantly, jamming yourself with all these outside circumstances that you're giving your power to and thinking that you're going to be refreshed and go right up to God because you're constantly living in the outside world, you won't go anywhere near God, right? You'll go up to about here, right? Maybe about the twilight area, just where you start to see that kind of grayish haze of the gradient. And like I said, you can spend as long as you want in spirit, right? You can go to these different planes, you can go to these different realities, these different realms as an astral being and play around there for as long as you want. But some point or another, you're going to say, I need to go back. I got to go back to Earth. I got to clean this up, or I got to go to a planet that is representative of that and clean up this debris and move myself up. You have to go back to the scene of the crime. Okay? You can't avoid that. If you want to move higher up the soul gradient, you have to go back to the scene of the crime, and you have to harmonize that. You're doing inner work. And like I said, people who have been living 1,000 lifetimes go from about here to about here. Okay? Barely an inch. When you start doing this work like you guys are learning right now, you're going to go up here, all the way up to God, because you're learning to live inside. Right? You guys all hear what I'm saying? Really take this into consideration. Look into what you have received here through the BCR technique. Look at what is becoming of you. When you are moving into love and happiness and joy, you're becoming a completely different person. And it's a wonderful thing to witness, right? We're seeing that with people that are talking to me on Telegram about their progress, right? How they've made revelations, how they've been able to heal themselves, right? Their physical body is feeling better, right? I've been doing some work on my shoulder as well too. Just through the BCR technique alone, it's feeling a lot better, right? Because I've had some stiffness issues in the past, just some bad posturing with the shoulder, right? And working with that, and it's getting better, right? This is it, guys. It's your own love energy that's coming alive, that's working very, very strongly, right? And you're healing yourself. You're healing yourself in body. You're healing yourself in emotions. You're healing yourself in your mentality. You're healing yourself spiritually, okay? This is what I encourage you to continue to do, because you are walking a very rare path. I would love to say, oh yeah, you know, millions of people are using the BCR technique. No, guys, it's probably barely under a couple thousand people. Since the time the BCR technique has existed, maybe only a couple of thousand people have looked into it. That's great, but it's very, very small, right? Because here's what it takes. It takes self-responsibility. A lot of people don't want to be self-responsible. They want to look for a pill. They want to look for a quick fix. They want to click on a red button and thinking everything's going to be better, right? To actually go and take responsibility for yourselves is just like trying to, it's like trying to lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. They don't want to drink, right? You can lead them. Oh, but that means I have to bend down my head. Can't you drink the water for me so it just comes right into my stomach? Right? No, you guys have to do the work. It's self-responsibility here, okay? And this is what you guys are learning yourself. And like I said, you guys are the pioneers and you can share this, right? I would suggest you guys just start blowing up your social media and saying, hey, check out the 30-day BCR technique. It's changed my life. Here's what it's done for me. And it can help you out as well too, right? I can't be the only sharer of this information. I'd love you guys to be able to go out into your social media, blast this around, and let people know that you start doing 30 days of the BCR technique. It's going to change your life. It's going to transform you majorly. But you guys have to be messengers as well too. I can't do this by myself, right? So help me out if you can. That is my request. If this has really, really benefited you, think about how it's going to help your family, your friends, or people who you just meet on social media, right? And you're just helping them out and say, hey, check this out. It's worked really, really good for me. Let it help you too as well. And that's good. I know some of you are already doing this. Love to see all of you guys doing this, okay? You've seen how it's helping you. Share it to the world. Share it far and wide. Let people be aware of this, all right? So we're going to wrap up for today. For day number 26, we're talking about event healing. Tomorrow I'm going to come back. We're actually going to start at 10:30 a.m. tomorrow. So I have a little bit of available time tomorrow. So 10:30 a.m. Pacific tomorrow. We'll be starting with the next day of the 30-day challenge. And we'll be doing a demonstration of that event healing for day number 27. Day number 28 and day number 29, we're going to do the challenge through Zoom, okay? Because I want to actually start talking to you guys, either through audio or through video. So I'll be mentioning more about that tomorrow. Day number 28 and day number 29 will be done through Zoom, okay? And then simultaneously broadcasted here on YouTube. So we can get in, we can actually have a Q&A day. We're going to have some feedback day on that. So it's going to be pretty exciting, hearing your voices and seeing you on video if you want, okay? Thank you, guys. I will see you again tomorrow for day number 27. Take care, and may it be well with you. Goodbye for now.